of this. So this is the Steel String by Mark Taylor, signed bottle, bourbon whiskey.
Better
with
hold
honey.
on to it so if he makes it.
Mm. Man, that is good.
That's pretty smooth. A little bit of a bite at the end.
I like it.
Not bad.
Fun. Country singer-songwriter Mark Taylor is taking music by storm with his 90s country-infused sound while also bringing his soulful, smooth melodies with honey-aged notes to the spotlight for years.
You can taste a bit of honey in there, that's for sure.
That's very nice. All right, Mark. Thanks for the bourbon.
Yeah.
The bourbon whiskey. Just in time for deer camp.
Just in time.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, if that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Way better when you do all that fancy shit to it.
Yeah, put a little more lead in the pencil there, huh?
You're supposed to sniff it, swirl it, put it in your gums.
Yeah.
Breathe with your mouth open.
Breathe with your mouth open.
And then you let it. You've ever done a bourbon tasting or whatever?
Yeah,
like
wine tasting, bourbon tasting.
They tell you to do all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Made a difference.
You taste it with the olfactories before you just put it down your throat.
Yeah, that's nice. I got to buy a special bottle for deer camp. I forget what it's called. I bought it last year, and it was one of the best bourbons I've ever had in my life.
Really?
I'll look it up later. I'll get all distracted, but I got this terrible cough. That's all it is. It's just a terrible, violent, annoying cough.
You got the coughing charts?
But I did puke a little bit the other night just from coughing so much.
Well, that's a heck of a gag reflex.
Like the kids are taking a sledgehammer to the floor.
Might be one son doing the old.
Just waiting for one to bust through the floor here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The sledgehammer with the other brother.
Jeez. Anyway, welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast. I'm Eric and
Greg back in studio once again.
Here we are. Derek's got a sick kiddo, so he's out tonight. We're gonna hash out the story of the redemption.
Yeah, redemption buck.
Stuff that you got going on, and we're gonna do another podcast this week with some of my other pals.
Oh baby.
Yeah, what you going? Wait, what? My brain isn't working. Where are you going? What you bringing?
Yeah, where are you going? What you bringing? And it'll be entertaining.
We do that every year. Yes. People call in. I'm going to the Northwoods. I'm bringing a case of hams and my 30-30 lever action. 30.
Yeah,
just all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
So the gun deer season is just about here in Wisconsin. I think Michigan opened up last weekend.
They did, and there's been a lot of people, a lot of our followers from Michigan have been posting pictures of bucks, their kids shooting bucks. It's been great.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it for several reasons, but yeah, anyway, so speaking of that, we're brought to you by Nosler. Check out nosler.com. Use code OHP. They, I think, sold out of the whitetail country.
That's not surprising because the price point was right, and it's an excellent round.
It's my favorite round. At least it's my rifle's favorite round that it's ever shot.
Yeah, it's really happy shooting those rounds.
People say that different rounds will shoot different out of you got to find the round that makes your rifle the happiest.
Yep.
And I found that now.
Yeah.
I thought I found it before. I was wrong.
It's even better now.
It's good to try stuff. Make sure you sight in. Make sure you're zeroed in. Get a good group.
Man, I don't know how many different brands of ammunition I've got in my war chest at home. From when I had an .6, I had probably everything from the cheap Winchester to the good stuff. Cheap Hornady to the expensive stuff, the Precision Hunter stuff, the Nosler stuff. Higher end, the Partition, the trophy grade ammo now have some of the whitetail country. So you got to find what that rifle likes, and just because it's your buddy has the same Remington 700 you do doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be always like for like. Maybe that barrel was made on a Monday instead of a Tuesday, so tolerances might be looser or tighter. You never know.
And maybe Todd was a little tired that day.
Todd might have been tired.
That's funny. So anyway, code OHP saves you 20%. That's a
pile
chunk off
on a very affordable round to begin with.
Yeah, it's $36, I think. So by the time you put the 20% in, it drops it down, I think, down to like 30-ish.
Yeah.
don't make me do the math.
Either way, it's not a bad deal on
Yeah.
Amazon.
This cough is gonna piss me off all night.
Yeah, I mean they've got all probably the most popular deer cartridges from 223 to 243, 308, 7mm 08, 6.5 Creedmoor. No Magnum cartridges yet. 30-06, 270.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of stuff.
So all the good stuff. But yeah, your most popular, your Wildcat rounds, a 7mm 08,
It's a
308,
Wildcat round.
shorter round.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't want to get too far in the weeds, right?
I don't know.
And then you have the
No
straight wall
stuff.
cartridges too. They got a 450 and the 350 right there.
Okay.
So the 350 is basically a stretched out 357.
This is a 350 right here.
Yep, that's the 350 Legend. So it's like they took a 357 case and they stretched it and put a nice heavy bullet in it. But these are states that require straight wall cartridge guns. Ohio being one of them. I'm not sure if Indiana is that way or not. I think Iowa is that way. Not positive. I don't hunt any of those places, but that's where this cartridge was developed, or why it was developed, is there are states that require straight wall cartridges. You could use handgun cartridges, which are a straight wall. They're not tapered. They don't have shoulders on them. So they don't allow for as
This
much
has a
powder.
taper shoulder.
Yep,
right?
that's a tapered shoulder. So you have the 308 round there. So yeah, 308. That's the 30 cal round. But yeah, the difference is in the two. But if you're looking at killing deer at 100 yards, perfect round. Doesn't kick a lot. Anybody can pick it up and shoot it, from your kid to your wife. Heck, if you don't want to tote a heavy rifle out
Keep
there,
the gun out of my wife's hand.
yeah,
for
okay,
now.
For now. But your kids can shoot this round. It's a nice round. It's pretty accurate. Has plenty of stopping power to knock a deer down. You could take a 357 Magnum pistol out in the woods and knock a doe down.
Yeah.
Or a buck down pretty easily. A lot of guys are going, the extra mile to go chase deer with a 10mm Magnum handgun, semi-auto. Well, 357's got more ass behind it. So, and that's been a cartridge that's been around forever. People look at it as like a home defense round or something they like to just go out and shoot, but you can kill deer pretty effectively with 357.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Glad you're here to talk about that stuff, Greg. I just say it shoots good. I don't know. Just like with everything else I have that in my possession, I just get it set up and let it do its thing. I don't need to question all the stuff. I just need to know
as long as you go shoot it every year to make sure it's on
Yep.
and you're confident in it, let it roll, man.
Yeah. Same with my bow, which the Bear Persist is what I've been shooting this season. Bear's a partner of ours also. We got him on the wall here, which is really cool that they got us that sign. But I've enjoyed that bow. The let off on it being great with the over 2 minute drawback on that buck a couple weeks ago. I let an arrow fly, got that other deer. I killed one finally.
Yeah.
So that bear got to eat. That was pretty cool. Did its job, full pass through, blah, blah, blah. Exciting stuff.
Well, no, blah, blah, blah.
We'll get into it.
Let's break it down.
We'll
Let's talk about this a little bit more.
Latitude's one of our partners, and I had brought everything to go hunt. Now I'm a little under the weather. I'm still not I'm not all the way better from whatever I'm dealing with. So I apologize for all the sniffling and coughing in the mic today, but I was like trying to gather all my stuff, and I got my sticks, I got my pack, I got my flashlights charged. It was like when I tracked the deer that we didn't recover, Tyler showed up, Tyler Meaden, and he was parked at an access spot, and I canoed in. So I was like, look, rather than carry all my gear back through all this stuff and into the woods in the canoe, I'll just put it in your truck. I'll pick it up later. So I had left my saddle and my knee pads and I don't know, a handful of other things in this truck. And I had seen them the day before I went hunting, and I just didn't. It just
spaced
on both of us to not grab anything. So I thought I had everything. I was like, oh, I don't have my knee pads. So I went to Ace Hardware. I bought knee pads. I went to Walgreens. I got cough syrup, cough drops, loaded up on everything I could so I wouldn't be scaring deer away with a stupid cough. And I get to the trailhead, and I start to get all my stuff ready, get the canoe off the top of my car, and I got new knee pads. Well, that's stupid. I have my freaking saddle. It's still in his truck.
And remember you calling me about it, going, okay, now what do I do? Well, you're there.
The ground.
I guess you're going to hunt from the ground, man, because, hey, you're there.
Yeah.
You're right. You're knocking at the door.
I was like, I
Just
can't
go hunt.
I'm
Just
not
go hunt.
gonna throw the canoe back on. He's like, I got all my kids. I can't get there. I'm like, all right, it's what it is. So, sign from God, go hunt from the ground today.
Yeah.
I've killed from the ground before. Actually, the first doe I ever got with my bow was from the ground at 15 yards. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's an exciting experience when you can pull it off.
Yeah, it certainly is.
So I didn't have that. Obviously, I'm using Spartan Forge, and lo and behold, I misinterpreted the wind. Completely opposite direction. Not Spartan Forge's fault. I just was looking at the weather forecast on the weather app, and I was like, dude, I need to see the wind over the map. I have to see the
Yeah.
visual. If it tells me direction, I will get it wrong every damn time. So I get to the property, I'm like, no, the wind's doing the opposite of what I thought it was. So I headed to a different part of the property that I hadn't been to yet. And I actually hunted right under someone's cell cam almost.
Well,
Not under it, but it was like,
not far.
it was right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, based on everything that's happening here, I guess I don't care. I'm not going to go trudge around more. I'm not going to, I think this is where I need to be to see deer tonight. And I was right off a pounded down trail it's just hooves everywhere.
You hunted the very same area that I hunted when you and I went there
That's
last
right.
year.
I was just,
Like,
I didn't go
I
into
found-
anything. I
no,
just stayed right on that edge.
It was literally, okay, here's an edge, here's an opening, there's another edge right across from the
Yep.
opening. There's two edges, there's trails everywhere in here.
Yep.
We heard grunting and all sorts of, you know what? We're just going to set up here. Bumped into another hunter. There was other people sign out there.
Yeah.
This spot's as good as any at this point
Yeah.
because there's so much other human sign.
Well, I'd love to know whose cell cam. I actually have a buddy that had a cam out on that property. He said, I pulled it and put it somewhere else. I'm hunting somewhere else. I was like, oh, I was hoping to be your cell cam so you could get the footage of the deer run off,
Right.
squirting blood, and me going to trail and dragging it out. It's all there on someone's camera
Yeah.
because that's where it went. And anyway, it's going to be a struggle bus tonight with this. It's basically asthmatic. So the more I talk, the more I'm going to be
The worse it's going
wanting
to
to
get.
cough.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just set up on the ground, and then I just started questioning things per usual. I sat there forever and just thought and pondered. Should I press in? Should I not press in? And old me wouldn't have cared about pressing in, about laying ground scent down. I never really gave that much attention. And then
Sure.
Derek has always said to not
Don't track more than
don't
you have
cross
to.
don't cross that deer path.
Yeah.
He's getting like the underbite and the knife
Uh-huh.
hand, and
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever. He is unfortunately correct.
He is very correct.
I've witnessed it
And-
twice this season
Yep.
now, and
And I think I remember saying something to you.
you probably
like,
have.
You see that path, like you see the spot. If you're going to go there, you better just fully commit and go there.
Correct. Yeah,
And don't come back.
Then don't come back. Exactly. That's it. So,
Just if you're going to go there far, you stay there.
and I was like, if I go, if I don't find something, I'm gonna have to come back. And so I intended on that on the first hunt when I shot the buck. I didn't recover, and then I ran into another stand. I was like, fudge, we got to go back. And when I went back, that buck, had I not put the ground scent down there, he wouldn't have tried to whiff me with his nose, and I would have been able to put a shot on him right there, and that would have been a better shot. Because the ground scent was there, he was alerted. I couldn't freaking move. That was in my mind. Now I'm like, nope. And there's a doe earlier in the season, that one that blew at me for like 40 minutes.
Yep.
She picked up my ground scent because I went and tried to fuck with my trail cam ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have done that.
No, you're out there to hunt, not mess with trail cameras. If you're anything, you go buy that thing on your way out.
Yeah.
In the dark with your headlamp, you do what you need to do with it, and you get the heck out of there.
Yep. So
that's it.
lessons learned. So
Mhm.
that lesson got applied to, on Saturday.
Yep.
And I saw the trail. I just didn't walk on it at all. And I didn't press further. I just stayed back off of it. And I got behind a big tuft of the canary grass, and I didn't cut my finger this time. I just got all the grass out of there, got all the dirt to the dirt, broke all the branches or twigs, pulled them out of there. So I wasn't going to be making any noise when I need to be putzing around. And there's a nice big shrubbery bush that I was up against behind me, so I wasn't silhouetted.
Perfect.
I did grab a couple extra branches and just do a little bit more stuff on the sides to make sure. And the way that I was, the wind was in my face, so
Yep.
I wasn't thinking anything would come from behind me. Nothing did that I was aware of. Nothing blew me. Nothing was aware of me. I had one buck come up from the west, a spike, larger spike than the one I shot. I'll get to that later. veered north into the island, and he didn't know I was there. It was fine, but he didn't present a shot. And I heard something like doe. This is great, and he gets closer and like, it's not a doe, it's a small buck. But at this point, I just really,
If it's brown, it's down.
I was ready to roar, and I just really want to know I could get it done. And he came within 5 yards of me, and I couldn't shoot him at the 5-yard mark because that grass was right there. His back was, I couldn't see through the grass, so I had to wait for him to get out a little bit. I think you saw the video.
Mm-hmm.
I did a terrible meh. That was like, meh. I should have like really gave it to him, but I was so close that I was like, he's gonna see me standing right here. You know, I just didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So it didn't. He slowed down like a tiny clip. It was the same situation I had with the buck on the wall by you right here. He didn't stop. He was moving at a good clip, and so my arrow left. It by the time he took another step, it went further back than where I wanted it to. I was shooting at a still target in my mind. It wasn't a still target. It was moving. So I didn't hit any gut, nothing bad at all. I think I got that artery that runs along the spine again, that femoral artery, and he didn't make it too far.
No, you tucked it in just at the right angle where it missed the guts. Probably clipped maybe a little bit of the liver,
Yep.
maybe, but it went through both lungs and came out a little further forward because it was angling away. That deer was walking away.
Yep.
So, and that's okay. And if you can keep in your mind when they're angled away like that, that you can perfectly ethically shoot that animal. Just look for the opposite front leg.
Sure.
So as he's walking away, it would have been his left leg. If you can see that,
Could have buried it a little bit better.
buried it. Yeah. I mean, you could have tucked it just a little bit further forward, but you know,
That
shot has been made. Deer is dead, and
It's all good.
it's all good.
Yeah, but it was close quarter from the ground, and nothing like the literal last minute of light. And it had been a minute later, I went to shot the thing. So I was like, it's now or never, and that arrow passed through him like butter.
Yeah.
It was just done. He mule kicked, ran, and then he just kind of walked. Like it was. We've heard this story with people with like the iron will broadheads and these single bevel broadheads or double.
Yeah. Well, single bevel and double bevel, any of the cut on contact. You know,
he just
fixed
didn't
blades.
even like.
No, because you had it sharp. When they're sharp,
Yeah.
it's like they got a scalpel run through them. They're not going to be a big cut, but they're going to be super sharp, and everything they touch is going to get razored through. If it's a super ultra sharp broadhead, and you can't have your head sharp enough, in my opinion, like sharpen them. The edges do degrade in your quiver. You're pulling them in, you're pulling them out, you're passing them into foam and out of foam. It will degrade the edge no matter what brand you shoot. So you got to be adamant. You know, get good with using a strop. You get the edge up real good with a stone. You work it with a strop. You get it razor sharp where it can shave hair, slice paper real nice. Whatever you got to do, whatever your test is. Okay, great. But just keep in mind every time you pull it out of the quiver and put it back in, you've just dulled the edge a little bit. And I know this is on microscopic level. This seems like way more effort than what it's worth, but I promise you it's worth the effort because a super sharp broadhead is going to do way more damage than a half-assed dull one. It always will. You know, we know somebody very well that has preached this over and over and over again. He's on YouTube, you know.
Yep.
But it's the truth. If it's a dull broadhead, everything kind of rolls around the blade. It doesn't get cut. So you want things to get cut. Every bit of material that broadhead comes into contact with, you want it cut.
Yep.
You don't want it just to roll around the broadhead.
Well, it's so we're using. I got the Grizzly sticks, and I have the Silver Flame and the.
Yeah, those are the Silver Flame and the Samurai.
And
Because
I lost one, I swapped out one of my arrows with the other one.
Yep, with the Samurai, you put a Samurai on. You
shot that. It was dead nuts.
Those are pretty small footprints, so they.
But that's not what I shot there. I shot there with the other one that I had on.
Silver Flame.
Both flew the same on my. Like both are in the target.
Footprint's very similar.
So it was
length is similar. So I wouldn't expect you to have too much different. One's a single bevel, one's a double bevel.
Yeah.
Silver Flame has 2 bevels on it, so you got to sharpen both sides. Where the single bevel, you really work hard on the other side, and you just take the burr off on the non-beveled side with your strop. That's pretty easy to resharpen.
So yeah, I was like, then I found the arrow. The knock was lit up. I saw it in the grass poking out, so that was cool. Man, stupid cough. And I was having a hard time finding the blood trail for a minute. I calmed down, just try to be methodical, found the blood trail. I knew where the deer had gone too. I kind of had seen where he went. So eventually the blood trail dried up and I was like, shit, you gotta be kidding me. Like this can't happen again. I can't go down this emotional, like I will hang it up. I will quit bow hunting if I can't recover this animal. I was getting really
It's tough, man.
frustrated. So I'm looking around. I'm like, he's got to just be dead somewhere here. Like this, he's gone far enough. This should be a dead deer right now. And we talked about there's other hunters on this property. Clearly, there's thumbtacks on all the freaking trees and shit. So I'm seeing all those reflective tabs looking back at me, and I'm like, well, that one's on the ground. That's not a thumbtack in a tree. That's an eyeball. Sure enough, there he was. So I don't know. The blood did dry up, but he died right there, and got to work and got him out of there. So getting me out was a whole different. Like as deer hunters, we all know what it's like dragging dead weight. Any deer's a heavy deer, but this is where I will say, I'm not shooting a spike to be on brand. Like that's not what's happening here. Clearly, I'm proud to get any deer, and I didn't have any opportunity at does. So the doe opportunity didn't exist. The one that blew at me for 40 minutes, I never had a shot. I was very close to shooting that bitch, but it didn't happen. And luckily he was a little deer, so the drag wasn't too bad. I don't think I could have handled much more. I was having like full-blown coughing attacks, like asthmatic coughing attacks. I don't know what I'm dealing with, but so that wasn't pleasant. I get him to a spot on the river where I had to get him past these blowdowns because the kayak wouldn't have made it through otherwise. So I finally get him past the blowdowns that are in the river, lay him on the bank, and I go get the canoe and paddle downstream, get to the deer, toss them in. Now I'm in a solo kayak, which Old Town makes.
Yeah, solo canoe.
So it's super cool.
It sits you low like a kayak, but you have more capacity to haul stuff. So it's awesome.
The footprint of a kayak, but the
stability,
the openness of a canoe, stability of a canoe. However, you're sitting in the middle of it like a kayak.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I put him in the front or the back? When my bag was in the back, I was like, I'll put him in the front. I feel like more weight up front is maybe good. So my bow is not sticking all the way up. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm in the middle. So and then the oars that I had were the paddles where you do the alternating paddles.
Yeah, it's a kayak paddle.
I don't know where those went. So I just grabbed an oar from the canoe, the bent shaft oar that I have. Getting that thing out of there going against the current was not going well. I was like, shit, I literally might not be able to get this buck back to my car. The current just kept whipping me sideways and trying to send me back downstream. And it's a shallow river in some spots, so you're not getting a lot of bite with the oar either. You just kind of like, I don't know. It was just tricky. And then I get to my car because I don't have a truck now, which is a whole different topic that I'm like, I will not have a car this time next year. I just fucking won't.
Done with it, huh?
I'm done. I made the financial sacrifice. We've gotten through the financial storm. I'm getting a freaking damn truck, damn it. So I threw this thing in my trunk in a sled with the seats down, and I'm like, yeah, like right here with this thing, just like Derek when he got his buck. He's got an SUV, but so it fits easier, but you're still riding with that stench.
Yeah.
And it barely fit. I was like, man, if I got a bigger deer, I wasn't getting out of here. The drag would have killed me. The kayak wouldn't have worked.
No.
And certainly I wasn't going to fit him in my car. I had to strap him to the roof, but I had a canoe on my roof. So what am I going to do? So I'm like, you know what?
Dude, that is
little
literally...
deer taste better anyways. This whole thing is meant to be.
I will tell you that when you and I went down that river, you had the canoe to get in, and that was easy breezy in comparison to paddling that fishing kayak that I paddled, because there was no way you were using the pedal drive at all because it's way too shallow.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, now that it rained a bunch, you could get away with it, but I don't know.
Doubtful.
What did Ryan say? Sorry.
Yeah. So Ryan's been commenting, but Ryan said something about the Wonderground app. So Weather Underground, that's got a nice wind feature.
Oh, it does.
I have it on my phone. It works really well. But yeah, that's Wonderground works very well for checking wind direction.
I used to like dark skies, but Apple bought them, so now it's just the weather app is just there now.
Yeah, it's there.
Not bad.
No, it actually works quite well. It's been pretty accurate too, as far as telling us things.
Ryan also said I've shot one 2 years ago that went through the lung, then hit liver without passing through, but the arrow did pass through the deer. We suspect
Probably.
it pushed it.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures online of deer dying with like not on the arrow, like when they'll pull it out.
Mhm.
It's kind of sorry. So you were
No.
talking about the river and the.
But yeah, it just to paddle something that heavy and have that much drag on it is it's a test.
With
It's-
one paddle,
with
when
one
you're sitting in
paddle.
the middle,
Yeah.
I'm like the bigger canoe probably would have handled this much better.
Oh yeah.
A little bit more buoyancy. I'm
Mhm.
sitting up top, more control, more room.
Yep.
So I like the little one because it's for the car. It's just easy, and even if I had a truck, I could fit it
Yeah.
in the truck bed. Like it wouldn't be sticking out if I had a longer bed.
Yep.
Which is part of the consideration of a new truck now is the bed size and the
Yeah.
engine.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yes. And Levi Carey, our buddy Levi over at Western Territory Podcast, shot his very
oh
first buck
shit!
with
Look,
a
there's
bow.
the comment right there. Sorry,
Yeah.
Levi. Got my first deer with the bow this year, man.
Congrats, man. I
Congrats.
think I said congrats earlier.
That's a
but
big deal.
yeah, it is a big deal to finally get the monkey off your back.
You want to
Shoot
call
deer.
into the show? We're hot. The phone lines are hot, folks.
Call in. Happy to
We'll
talk.
take some calls. Yeah, I'll put the number on the screen just so everyone has it. But how's your shipping going, dude?
Mediocre to not awesome, but not terrible. I've got my issue with Aeroflight taken care of. Some major adjusting. Not sure really what happened, but it's squared
Okay.
away. Shooting a whole different combination of arrow and broadhead just because the bow likes it, and it's killed a bunch of stuff. So I went back to my old gear.
Okay.
Old bow, old gear. Yeah, a ton of confidence in that, but I don't know. We'll see if I can get out one more time here before we get a strap orange on and rifles ready.
Yeah, so Tyler shot at a buck and missed like by
Yeah.
3 feet, just left to the left.
Yeah.
Like left right isn't typically off. Usually it's up down.
And his, I think we figured out that he just did not have his nock turned in the right
So
position.
the cock feather wasn't up.
Yeah, the cock feather was down, probably interfering with the drop away rest, and it was using it as a launch pad when it left. So those veins will catch something.
What's his
with it.
drop away rest on there? He's got. I wonder if
I
maybe
think
it's
it's
just
the same
fishtailed
one.
his arrow a little bit.
I think it's the same one you and I got.
The
QAD.
QAD
I think so.
might be
It's
right.
nothing to do with the rest. It's just the fact that you got to pay attention to where your feathers. It's 3 fletch. So if
Mhm.
you have one feather facing down or off to the left or off to the right, and it tags at rest, it's gonna send it off.
Yeah, so it's okay. And then you missed a doe.
Oh, I hit the doe. I did not hit where I was.
Or
putting
sorry,
the
you
pin
did
on.
hit her. You didn't hit her where you wanted to. So it's
No.
been a rough.
Yeah,
I've heard this from a number of people though too. It's like every message I get.
and it's
like,
on
"Ah,
video, so everybody will see it and
Yeah.
talk their
It's
shit.
okay.
And
No,
that's fine.
but these are important things. Actually, I just watched. I don't know who this YouTuber is. I just watched it today. It was a very short DIY self-filmed hunt from a page called Big Wisconsin. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
It showed up in my feed. I was like, "Oh, Wisconsin! I'm from Wisconsin. I'll watch this." It's short, and dude hit a buck. Hit low, it just deflected off, and you can see in slow mo because he replays it. It just deflects on this tiny little twig right before it
Doesn't
hits the
take
deer,
much.
and it was enough to knock the arrow down a little bit. And so the shot was looking great, and then slight deflection down low. You see white fur, no blood. You see blood later. He gets a dog to come track. Doesn't find the deer.
No, that deer's
Shit just happens, and it's
plenty
heartbreaking.
live. It is. It sucks. Doesn't matter what it is. I was hoping to put that doe in the freezer.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, where else you can put her?
Yeah, well, I eat it in my belly. That's where I'm putting it. But it was I already had it on shish kebabs with mushrooms and onions, and it spoke a little too soon. But I don't like wounding animals. I don't like chasing them around the marsh. I don't like putting extra pressure on them.
You tracked her for 400 yards or something like
Oh, it
that.
was longer than that
Yeah,
because
that's a long track.
Yeah, I
and
mean, it was
it's not getting going well.
from point of impact up where she ducked into the cattails, went into the cattails, probably a good 100 yards or so, bedded down. We kicked her out of a bed. We trailed her through the cattails, literally back probably about 200 yards from where I shot her, like through the marsh. I could see the tree I was sitting in 200 yards away, and the blood was just getting more and more faint. And it got to the point where it was just little pricks here and there, and like she's sealing up.
Done.
Yeah, she's sealing up. There's no blood, no more blood to be found. And granted, we're in a wall of cattails, so she's gonna leave blood on the cattails, and
Yep.
the blood was just getting less and less as we got further in.
Yeah.
And I just went, you know what? We're not going to find this deer. We're
You
gonna
know where you shot her. You could see the video. You
Yep.
had Kayla with you.
hit high
That
and
stuff,
back,
yeah.
and it was no good.
High and back. That's like what's happening. Levi called in. You want to hear?
Yeah, let's do it.
Levi, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just trying to light a cigar.
Oh, there you go, buddy. Celebratory cigar. Way to go, bud.
Nice.
Congrats. How you doing? How's Western Territory
Well,
podcast doing?
Good, man. Good. Things are going great. Actually being smart and trying to book people ahead of time and stuff. So got a good lineup kind of lined up for the
Sweet.
podcast, and yeah, going good.
Excellent.
So what tell us your story, because you're hunting Western Territory. Like you're in some like big country compared to us here in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's not all tree stands and roses where you're at.
Yeah, but you know, on this particular hunt, it's not as all rugged as it sounds. Ended up shooting it in my buddy's pasture, so you know, it's not super all rugged, but it was during rifle season, so I think that adds a challenge
Oh yeah,
to it.
you
But
could have just poked.
I
him
was
from-
looking at a real nice. What's that?
I was just saying, yeah, you could have made it. You could have hit the easy button, but you didn't. So there you go. It's rugged enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a real nice deer in the, you know, that I could shoot with the rifle. Definitely could shoot him, but then I kind of look to my right, and there's this this tall 2-point and Western 2-point, or I don't know if you guys would call him a 4-point or forky. I don't know.
Fork and
You
horn.
weird
Yeah.
Eastern dudes, but yeah. But I looked at him, and he was at 62 yards, and I had my bow, and I said, that's what I'd rather shoot, you know, than even a nice 5x5 muley buck. And I elected to shoot the forky. And honestly, it was going through my head right before I drew back. I was like, all right, the guys at Okayest might be okay with this, or proud of me for it, or what. But I pulled back and shot, and that one too was a little high and back, and he ran out further into the pasture and was acting okay, but wandering around, getting nervous. And actually, because I didn't want him running onto the neighbor's property or over by a house and stuff like that, I did elect to pull up the rifle and just put him down. He was going to die, definitely, but I wanted to speed up the process and not have him run onto the neighboring property. So I guess I kind of, it's like an archery buck with an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Well, if you're allowed to do that, that works.
Go figure. I like that, man. No, that's cool. You know, the fact that you were at full draw and thought, I wonder what the Okayest Hunter guys are going to think. I'm past the point of being able to count how many messages we get on a weekly basis right now of, thank you guys, I wouldn't have shot this deer, which I just am
You
like,
should shoot that
Yeah.
deer. If it makes you happy, gets you excited, you're going, you know what? I've never done this one before. Let's do it.
hunt your own hunt and
Experience it, and then graduate and move on. There's nothing wrong with that.
you can also go
Mhm.
backwards like I did. You don't always have to go up.
I watched my dad do it. I watched my uncles do it. Some years are great, and they're on big bucks. They're on a property with big bucks, and they have the opportunity to do so.
Yep.
To harvest a big one. And then there's other years where there's no big ones
Right.
on the property, you know.
Or you have too much on your plate.
Yeah.
I brought that
Every
deer
year is
home and I was
different.
like,
Right.
you know,
Well,
it's not
and-
that big. And my daughter's like, Dad, we're still gonna eat it, right? I was
Yeah.
like, man, my kids just know the right thing to
Mhm.
say to me. That's my daughter got me set straight real quick.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, and you know, I've had an amazing season this year. We're in elk pretty much every single day, elk hunting, archery stuff. And as an archery elk hunter, what more can you ask than to be in elk every day?
Yeah.
And it just was to the point too where I was like, I need this like for my head to make it happen, to, you know, to kill something with my bow, all of that. And it was just like, it's my time and I'm cool with it. So yeah, it was a good experience. The only real sad thing is that the buck did test positive for CWD.
Oh man.
So, I mean, that kind of goes to waste and stuff like that. I'm not going to feed that to my family personally. That's my own personal choice. I'm not coming down on anybody that selects to feed that to their family and stuff, but that's just my own personal take.
I mean, dude, you could be the first one to give someone,
like last year they had that guy.
Yeah.
If you got
last
someone,
year they had that one guy up in Canada that died from it or something, or contracted CWD, that he's like the only person ever to contract it, but it was from eating deer meat.
dude, if you start the zombie apocalypse, like that might be something for the history book, you know, like that. Well, yeah, I was the guy that started the zombie apocalypse. You know, got mad cow disease from a CWD deer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your buck looked perfectly healthy too, didn't it?
Oh, he looked great. The only thing is when I was skinning him out, I was going, man, even during like pre-rut right now, he should have way more fat on him. You know, the deer that I was specifically after in this area, they were deer that have been eating on alfalfa all year. They're going to have tons of fat.
Is it a whitetail?
And this deer didn't have very much fat. No, it's a muley.
Muley.
It's a mule deer, but he was like, you know, we're at the base of the mountain, so there's plenty of mule deer in these alfalfa fields, and yeah, it's just like I'm looking at him going, man, there's not a lot of fat. I'm kind of wondering if he had those precursors to that CWD, and yeah, sure enough, yeah, he's got it. So,
well, one of the pieces I hunt locally to my house, I just shot a buck that I'm familiar with, older deer. I bet that deer's probably 5 or 6 years old now. I've had him on the cameras for the past 3 or 4 years, and never really got giant in the rack, but always had a big body. And the guy messaged me and said, "Hey, you've been hunting back here, you know, at this area?" No, not this year. I haven't. Well, I shot a really big bodied buck. It would have been a 12 pointer, but like half the points were smashed off of it from all the fighting it's been doing. And I took it in, had it processed, but I sent in the lymph nodes, and it tested positive for CWD. So I have a deer that I sent to the processor. I got to pay $125 for, and I can't eat it. So just be careful when you're hunting deer back there. Hopefully you're testing them. I said, yeah, I test all my deer, you know, regardless. It's good to have the data. And, you know, I've shot a lot of deer, and I've never had one test positive from back there. And now we have one. Now, I mean, that buck's old. It's wandered around a lot. It's, you know, it's been in a lot of places. So who knows where?
You know what's been in a lot of does,
right? That too. But either way, that buck, pictures of it. I got pictures of a big, heavy rut neck on him. Other than his antlers being smashed up, he looks pretty normal. You know, plenty of fat on him, but he tested positive for CWD. So
it's a tricky thing because it does. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna feed it to my family either.
No,
because it's just strange. But how many? I probably have eaten a CW deer and didn't know it. I'm sure there's years where that didn't get tested, or before it became.
There's been plenty of deer brought to processors that haven't been tested, and they get run through the grinder with everybody else's deer, and you could have eaten plenty of CWD positive meat.
And it's not like you can get rid of it. Those prions aren't. You can't
one
kill
reason
them.
I do my own deer.
Yeah, that's just it. That's what I've done. I've gone to do the same thing. I package all up. I mark on on each package what deer it's from. I send in, you know, drop off the head or send in the nodes. They get back to me pretty quick, and then I know. Then I'm not out a ton of processing fee. I'm just out, you know, freezer paper or freezer bags, depending on how I package it up. I went freezer paper last year because I had 4 deer down, and it was a cheaper option. And two, I'm not putting a bunch of plastic in a landfill. Then the freezer paper breaks down quicker than plastic bags do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Who's your guest tomorrow on your show?
I go real quick, guys.
Go ahead.
I do want to bring up and invite you guys, because I just barely got off the phone to finalize this thing. I want to invite you guys out to Wyoming, June 7th. It's a Saturday. I know it's tough and everything, but I'm putting on a big conservation event in Cody, Wyoming, and it's called Beer, Bucks, and Brookies, and it's going to be a pretty cool, really awesome event. I'll give you guys more details later and stuff, but I just kind of confirmed that date. We're renting out the entire giant city park in Cody, right next to the giant Buffalo Bill Historical Museum. There's going to be musicians, biologists coming and talking.
Wow.
Bow Hunters of Wyoming will be there putting on a bow shoot for the kids. Game and Fish will be there with a Robo Bear for you to like shoot your bear spray at, and they're going to give away some pepper spray as well. It's going to be a pretty big, really cool event.
Wow.
Drinking
I did
enough
it
beer,
last
you're gonna be
year.
like, give
It
me,
was
I'll take
really
some. I'll
cool.
take some to the face.
Oh, no. Sounds like a great event, Levi.
Yeah. So
Thanks for the
we're
invite, buddy.
just
Appreciate it.
trying to give back for conservation, let people know where their money goes when they spend money for conservation. That's the whole point of it, rather than it being a collection kind of event.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know about it since I just got off the phone confirming that we're pretty well a go for it.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah.
And be sure for all the listeners, Western Territory is a podcast on the network. Go check it out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast.
And it's not just
Who's your guest tomorrow, Levi?
Well, we've got a guy that does he does like off-road tent manufacturing and like overland kind of gear.
okay.
And stuff like that coming on, because that's kind of Western stuff. Me and a few friends are getting ready to go to Moab in March, and that's kind of something that a passion of mine that sits in my back pocket
Yes.
as like overlanding, off-roading stuff. But that's why it's Western Territory podcast. It's not just straight up hunting and stuff.
Yep.
So outdoorsy stuff, and that's what we're going to hopefully talk about. But I'm kind of waiting also to hear back from him. I haven't heard from him today, so I'm kind of going, don't ghost me.
You're gonna have to message the podcast network group. Hey guys, I might need a guest who wants to be on the show.
Yeah, right.
You get Zach on there. He's out.
I'll
He's in your neck of the
do
woods.
something.
Tony Cordero asked a question while
I'll
we got
figure
you.
something out. I always do.
Tony asked, so for those of you that process your own deer, do you ever store your meat before packaging it while you're waiting on your CWD results?
The problem is during gun season, you have to wait so damn long. I just package mine up and freeze it and just make sure I have it all marked with which deer it is, and go from there. It's a pain in the butt, but it's kind of a necessary evil because it'll be weeks at times during gun season, especially with the volume of deer heads and nodes that they have to go through. It's tough.
Okay.
So unfortunately, if I could allow it to sit in the beer fridge in the garage, if I weren't shooting 3 and 4 deer every year at about the same time, I stack them up. Then it's kind of a pain. So maybe I'll have to refrain from doing that and just shoot one at a time. But then,
I'll find out more. My meat's ready. I got to pick it up tomorrow before gun. But the prime cuts are ready, not the specialty stuff.
Yep.
And the specialty stuff will get mixed in with other deer.
Oh yes, it will.
Yeah, Levi, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yeah,
We'll
buddy.
talk to you soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Be
See
in
you guys.
touch. All right.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. That we could probably do an episode on CWD. It gets to be controversial and heated because it's like, well, how do you battle prions? Well, you can, but you can, but we need to know. And it's just it's a tricky. We've had a few episodes about it in the past. Mitch Baker,
and Doug Dern,
and Doug.
Those two are probably the best resources for talking about CWD.
I think some people like to just put their head in the sand about it, though.
They do.
Outside of their mind, I don't want to think about it. There's a big spectrum there. I think awareness and how to deal with it is good. Having good, correct information is important.
Well, I think helping the biologists is important.
People that do the clickbait bullshit of like zombie deer stuff, like don't pay attention to that. Just look at the real empirical studies that exist.
We have good people out there giving you the right information. Just seek them out.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yes, someone's asking, are you guys from Wisconsin? That we are. Yep, we are in Wisconsin. You ever use the CB kiosk at DNR office and walk shop? I haven't.
I use the one over by me in Jefferson County, so it's very convenient. It's right down the street for the most part. In fact, I got to go past it when I come back from hunting. So
perfect.
I have no reason not to use it. And we have a dumpster too for deer
carcasses,
parts for all the carcasses, and which is great because then it's not all over the land landscape.
Yep.
And if you all of a sudden find out, like I've gone to the dumpster and like end of gun season, and there's packages of deer meat. Clearly that tested positive,
Mhm.
and it wasn't even from around there. It was just, it tested positive and they dumped it. And it,
Mm.
you know, they had who shot it and where it came from right on the packages.
Interesting.
So it was all freezer papered up. They spent the time butchering it up and packaging it to have to turn around and throw it away.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks.
I hope that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
That's a bit heartbreaking. I don't need any more heartbreak.
No,
I've
but
seen
using
positive stuff.
the kiosks are really not that hard to use. I mean, you can go there after hours. It's pretty self-explanatory. You get a bag that has the tags in it with all the numbers. You fill out the sheet. You give them the coordinates of where you shot the deer.
Mhm.
So that's very important, is to know where. And they have a map with all the coordinates, and you just figure that out and
Yep.
write those coordinates on the sheet. It's really not bad. If you have a buck, like my 8-pointer that I shot a few years back, well, it's many years back now, and that 9-pointer, like I wanted to the 8-pointer I got mounted, I got a shoulder mount. Well, I don't want them carving up the neck and hacking things up. So what I did was I caped it off, you know, from behind the shoulders
Mhm.
forward, and just rolled it up like a sock from around the neck, so they could get in there and actually cut the nodes. I left about 5 inches of neck on there like they asked for, and they were able to go in there with a scalpel and pick the nodes out.
Hmm.
It was pretty slick. And actually, I have a video of it too, have them doing it. You could share it if you wanted to, but you just call ahead, call the DNR check station, you know, where you're dropping it off. My area happens to be a kiosk by a DNR station,
Okay.
so somebody was available to carve the nodes out without wrecking
That's kind of nice.
the hide.
And they got a lot of experience having done a whole bunch of them or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. Back to the whole shoot whatever you want. I
Yeah.
have a small soapbox I feel like I should jump on, because there's something interesting that I noticed. And I don't know what to make of it. I'm just calling it out. I don't have a strong point of view on it. But when I shot the buck right here, this big wide guy, I mean, you'd have thought I had to get up on a podium and do a thank you speech. You know, like the number of text messages, DMs, comments. I was like, it's almost like you get a decent buck and you have like some version of like celebrity for a hot second,
Just for a hot second.
which that hot second lasts like, 24 hours or something.
Yeah,
But it's
but you don't do it for the likes anyway.
certainly not. Certainly not. But what's interesting is shooting the little guy that I got, you don't get everyone's congratulated. I have no negative stuff.
No.
And I don't expect that. But you certainly don't get the additional, like,
Attaboy.
all the other people. Like, it's just not it's very telling of just the industry
Mm-hmm.
of like, that's what everyone, and it's not bad, because I think they're majestic and they're great to put on the wall, and we drool over them. I think we all love big deer. It signifies a certain level of challenge, that it's a mature animal that's harder to kill,
Definitely.
all this stuff. Like a little one would be a signal of like, well, that one's dumb. I truly believe that a bigger deer could walk the same path and I still would have put a kill on it.
Mhm.
Based on how I was set up, I think I still could have done it. Are they wiser? Blah, blah, would I have had to maybe be a little more careful?
All you needed was one hot doe to come through with a
Yeah.
bruiser on its back.
And any given day, like in the rut especially, you could get a big guy slipping up. So I don't know what to make of that, other than just none of that shit matters. And when I think about the first buck I shot with my gun, which was the first deer I ever shot ever, and it happened to be with a gun. It was, I don't know, 12-ish years ago or something.
Mhm.
I was in my 20s, and nothing got like it just didn't. I was so excited to have shot a deer, and nothing mattered. And when I shot this deer the other day, like nothing else mattered other than I wanted to shoot a deer. That was it for me. And so I just say all this to say, like, again, hunt your own hunt. It's your tag, it's your hunt. Don't worry about other people's stuff. That my response to my daughter was what really made the cherry on the cake for me. I got good meat coming back. I got to accomplish what I set out to
Mhm.
do. My season's been shit because I messed up on one, just enough to make it not count. I've 5 times. I can count on one hand how many times I've been bow hunting this season.
Yeah.
Lots of travel, lots of work, lots going on. Big deer require a level of time commitment and
More
effort.
commitment. Yep.
And I don't have that. And I've said this. I think I told Kurt Geyer when he's like, what's your goal? And I was like, my goal is not to get a big buck, because I'm not living in some delusional fantasy land. I live in reality, and that's just not in the cards for me, given the amount of effort I have here.
Right.
And the amount of effort I did have, I was proud of. So I don't know if anyone needs to hear that or not. But we're happy to be the brand to champion that, because it should be celebrated. And it does need to be celebrated in the way of people reaching out, going, "Oh, congrats, man." I think some people just like to, the Chris Farley, Veronica Vaughn, I know a guy who knows a guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that proximity of being close to someone that does that, cares. You don't get to, it's not part of it. So
No.
that's all. I just wanted to jump on and say some shit.
No, 608 from YouTube. Feel like mature bucks are the abnormality, and they are, because there aren't as
Yep.
many of them around, right? Because let's face it, more young ones get killed than big ones, so they don't get to be that big. So they are the abnormality, and they don't do normal deer stuff because
true.
they've witnessed what happens when you're a normal deer. So they're abnormal,
Yep.
and they go do their own thing. They live in solidarity. They live in the cattails.
I think Bill
I
with
hear
Front
them.
Forge once said some of the bigger ones don't even participate in the breeding season.
They do very little. Whatever doe comes their way, they breed it, and that's it.
They're like, man, I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
do all
No,
that.
I know
I'm
there's more
safe right
people
on this
out
cliff
there.
where no one can see me. I'm
Yep.
gonna just sit
I'm
this one
safe in
out."
these cattails
Yeah.
a mile deep, and nobody can bother me. A doe comes through, and we can have a little fun. We do, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's-
that was my.
100%.
But I mean, you have goals. You've passed on a couple because you're like, no,
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean-
what I'm after right now, and that's all respectable and commendable. Like the point is to respect each hunter's hunt, and
Right.
so certainly
It's
not a slam on
respectable
anybody
and-
killing big deer either. I like.
It's respectable and commendable to a point where I passed on some deer that a lot of people would shoot, and my opportunities realistically for that property, it's probably, if I shoot a 3.5 or a 4.5-year-old deer, that's really good, because
Mhm.
there aren't a lot of them around.
Right.
There's a ton of 1.5 and 2.5-year-old deer that are not bad, but
Yep.
they're going to be really awesome next year. But again, limited to time and limited to spots on this property. It's a 60-acre parcel with
Not a lot of huntable
not
with a bow
with a bow.
with a gun.
With a gun, it's throw it out the
Still for
window.
Season, yeah.
But with a bow, I basically have 3 trees I could possibly hang in, and they're all in the general vicinity of each other within 100 yards.
Mhm.
All 3 of these trees.
You're skylighted pretty good.
Bad.
Yeah,
And I got busted bad with the cameraman, of course. So there's 2 bears in a tree instead of 1.
It's a big clump up there.
Yeah. And like that buck looked and went, well, I'm going to be a little nervous, but I'm not too nervous because I think I'm far enough away. Then he saw me move. Then he blew. And he had the little 1-year-old with him, or 1.5-year-old with him, whatever. And
Yeah. You see a puff of air where he was.
oh yeah, and then he bounded off, but he didn't go far. He still hung around. He didn't blow again, but we just sat there still. It's like, well, okay, I, went from a 35-yard shot to now he's 55, 60 yards away, and well, we're not getting an opportunity at that. So,
No.
but they're not dumb. I mean, they've seen people, and that deer came out 2 other times within that past
Looking
week,
right there.
looking right there every time. It's the same buck. It's
Yeah.
the same.
It's almost like you educated him.
Yep, it's that same 10-pointer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I passed a nice 8. I mean, you'd have been thrilled to shoot that deer. I was kind of excited, but it was like I got him to come to a
Once you got
grunt.
past your nerves.
Yeah, but I got him to come to a grunt call. He came busting out of the cattails, looking around, came 22 yards downwind of me and stopped. I'm like, I could totally whack you right here, but I won't, because you're not quite what I want. You're a nice looking buck, but I want to see you grow another year because you're going to be a really nice buck. Very symmetrical,
Mhm.
edge of the ears. He does some growing. He's going to put on some inches next year. He's already got a pretty big body. Nice deer, but I just didn't want to shoot him. I'm out there to shoot does. If I see a good shooter buck, and I'm trying to adhere to what the neighbors consider shooter bucks out there too, so we're all on the same team with that.
Mhm.
Their kids like to shoot smaller bucks. Let them shoot the smaller
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
I don't need to shoot those. I'll have plenty of meat if I shoot those.
Yep.
Don't need to shoot.
That's what the
smaller.
rifle's gonna be for in
Yep.
a couple of days.
Yep, pretty quick here. It's happening. So the rifle is glowing with excitement. But I didn't need to shoot that deer, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you also don't have so much pressure that you feel like you need to shoot a deer.
I don't let that bother me.
I shot my deer because I need to know that I could kill something with my bow.
And I'm getting less and less involved with social media by choice, just
Yeah.
because
It's not doing a lot of good.
it's not doing a lot of good. It's
Yeah.
not proving anything. I don't need to prove anything. I'm out there to do what I want to do. I'm enjoying sitting out there, watching the deer do deer things, watching them blow at me when they bust me.
Mhm.
Doesn't faze me in the least. It's just an enjoyable experience to be out there and have the quiet and the calm.
It is very spectacular to be out there. I like where I go for a gun. It's different than where I hunt around here. It's peaceful. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had coyotes almost run over my legs sitting on the ground.
Yeah,
owls
it
right
is
there
different.
swooping down and stuff. It's nice. Eagles are in the area. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. That's there wasn't so much of a story here, other than I thought I was gonna be done for the season, and I basically was. I was pretty happy with, not happy, but I was like content with being done because I was so distraught from what had happened 2 weeks ago, and
Things are going to happen, though.
picked it up and got back out there and
Yeah.
made something happen, and that felt
As much
good.
as everybody hates
So-
to hear that, things do happen in the woods. It doesn't always, pan out.
Calder said social media's got him more discouraged than anything else this year. Can you explain, Calder? You can call. Oh, we got 2 calls in. Shit, sorry. Let's get some people in here. Just real quick, we'll take a couple calls. Noah, you're up on the line. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Good, Noah. What do you know?
Oh, it's just been a rough bow season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, preaching the choir, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, just from up north, you guys know I do a lot of food plotting, and
Yep.
just the weather was not very great to me with my food plots this year. Then come into the weather during the season, and just nothing wanted to move. I had a few deer in front of my stand, but it was mostly this one doe and her twin fawns. And I didn't really feel like taking that doe with the fawns with the amount of coyotes I've had up there this year. Now I'm hearing there's a mountain lion up there now too.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, anything's possible. Yeah, you're
So
trying to ensure the survivability of the species in your area.
yeah, I had a lone doe last week, Thursday, 20 yards in front of my stand, but I have 2 buddies I'm bringing up north this weekend, and I want them to get their first deer, so I didn't really want to shoot her, a week before gun season.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's good.
Almost, yeah, I had a real close encounter making me rethink a few things about my food plot. I had a buck come from behind my stand. I saw him come out. They kind of come out of this little ravine with like a creek at the bottom of it. They come up this trail, and then normally they dump onto my food plot right there. And the way they walk out, they're walking, 20 yards broadside from my stand to get out onto the main part of the food plot. So I watched this little buck. I think he was probably about 3 years old. He had some nice thick base on his antlers, but he was only 4-point. I mean, they were nice, tall, forked tines. Even the 2 forks came out pretty far too. So I'm like, yeah, I'll shoot this guy. Like, I'm not end of the rut, end of my season basically. I wouldn't be troubled shooting this guy, fill my tag.
Sure.
And then as I'm watching him come up, he was maybe 30 yards down the path to go onto the food plot, and he just stops, looks onto the food plot, turns right into all the thick stuff, and walks away. And I'm like, oh, he was looking for does. He was still hunting some does, and he didn't see any on the food plot, so he just decided to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you going to reshape your food plot to make them move through it more?
Yeah, I think because I went down after I got down on the stand. This was the morning. He actually came out pretty late. It was probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I went down and I kind of stood where he was, and I looked down and I'm like, yep, I can see straight through the trees, like the really sparse brush I have right into the food plot. So I'm thinking I might try to find maybe some like red osier dogwood.
Yep.
Or some other kind of bush, thicken up that part so that they can't just see straight onto the food plot without actually walking out of the trail.
Dogwood would do it because
Or
one, it's,
soft edges is something you
yeah,
can do too.
yeah.
But
Dogwood's good because it provides food for late season too.
Hmm.
They'll browse dogwood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we see it in the marshes down here all the time. Dogwood come December is got those nice little buds on it, and they're just nipping it.
Mhm.
They're nipping every edge of it until they're eating it as much as they can. But it makes good cover too because it does grow nice and thick.
Noah,
So that way there you got a screen, make that deer actually want to come into the food plot and check it out.
we're doing another episode this week on Thursday for Where You Going, What Are You Bringing? I want you to call into that episode.
Oh yeah,
I already know where you're going. I have an idea what you're bringing, but
Yep,
call
I'll be
back in
calling
for
in.
that one. I wouldn't normally move you along quick,
yeah.
but there's 2 other callers in line behind you, so we're gonna grab the next ones here, bud.
Yep, no worries, guys. Just want to
It's good to hear from you,
vent my
man.
frustrations for the bow season.
No, we're right there
Appreciate
with you,
you,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, who do we got next? We got looks like Andrew. You're live on the show. How you doing?
Hey there, guys.
How's it going
I
tonight?
can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You guys got me? Okay, good.
Yep.
So I got a funny story for you guys. You might enjoy this one. Okay. So backstory, I'm the guy that sharpened the VBSs for Method.
Oh yeah.
So
The Vera Broadhead
yeah,
systems.
so
Yep.
that was me.
Yep.
Yeah. Our mutual, I think I'm friends with Greg on Insta.
Yeah.
But my Sunday was absolutely wild. So going off of historical data, I found a spot next to a field that I've seen bucks travel before. Set up a stand, and by stand I mean saddle, using a trophy line.
Okay.
But I'm one of those no platform top rung guy. So I climb up this sucker, but I see 3 doe like, I don't know, probably 70 yards downhill, out of range, get down, move my setup closer. And instead of focusing on the path where I thought bucks usually come from, I was focused mostly on the field, as you know most guys would. Well, sure enough, around 11 o'clock Sunday, a buck just comes ripping through this thick stuff, making a beeline towards the tree that I was just in. And I grab my bow and I wheel around to shoot the thing. And feet slip off the top rung. And sure as shoot, I'm clinging to the tree like a stripper on a barky pole, just trying to keep the bow in my hand. And this buck looks up at me, has me pinned, and I'm 90 degrees off the tree. I'm just sideways as all get out. There's nothing below me, no way to shoot the sucker. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I've never been embarrassed in front of the wildlife before, but here I am, no shit. So he starts not paying attention to me anymore.
He's like, this guy ain't
And as
gonna kill
I'm
me.
reaching
There's
up
not
to
a
grab
chance. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe there's a chance. And he's walking, he's 20, 22 yards. So I start reaching up to grab my line and pull myself back up. And he bolts off, right? Like Nicki Minaj doing a bear crawl, smuggling 2 yams. He's up the hill and gone, right? So that was like my morning. So I'm sitting there, you know, and like all good folks that are in the woods do, I start making deals with God. I'm like, send me another one. Just give me another shot, right? And I'm also like, thank you for not like letting me plummet to my death and letting my saddle catch me.
No kidding.
Yeah, don't get too
And
greedy here. you know.
around 4:30, yeah, right around the twilight hours, here comes one of my the largest bucks that I have on my cell cameras. So around like 3 o'clock, I started like bleeding about every 20 minutes, just giving it 2 little mac, you know.
Yep.
And so he's coming on a string through some thick stuff, and in my frantic, you know, ability to grab my bow, I snag it off my hook, and he kind of sees movement but isn't sure. He's got a tree blocking half his vision. So I'm like, okay, I'm still good. He keeps moving, and he's walking to this deer piss bottle. You know how we all are. Once we run out, we hang it from a tree limb because you know there's some still around the edges.
Yep.
So I got this guy and he's walking towards us. So I move my camera. I'm trying to do some self-filming to where I think I've got it on the back label, which is white, on this deer piss. I'm like, good. I'm going to get the shot on camera. I hit record, draw back. He gets behind a tree. And then he gets to where the bottle is, but he's kind of still, I could tell he's still kind of cautious. Well, I'm in this new spot, didn't clear out any branches, and I shoot. Swap. Bow makes a weird noise, right? Buck wheels away at the sound of the shot. Arrow goes in front of the shoulder, through the neck, and I'm guessing out a little bit higher down the neck. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. That's going to be a fun one to track down. And I'm shooting a 2-blade Magnus Stinger, right? 150 grain up front. You know, I learned from Method how to build an arrow.
Yep.
So arrow zips on through him. Not a big deal. He runs up 40 yards, bounds away. I'm thinking, awesome. I go to check my camera, and because I'm hunting the old family farm, what had happened was I had actually set my camera on a pile of garbage that was about 30 yards to the left of where I thought this deer was going to be. So no shit, no footage of the shot. So I'm not exactly sure where I hit the sucker. Climbed down, spotty blood everywhere. And then it dried up like 275 yards away. You know, just an absolute terrible Sunday night. And then obviously hunting southern Wisconsin, come Monday morning, like it does this time of year, it decides to rain and wash away the evidence, you know?
Wow.
But
sorry,
what
this
are you
is
gonna
meant to be
do?
such a depressing episode.
Next weekend's a new weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the boomstick.
What's that?
Put the hurt on him next weekend, you know?
Well, see, that's the thing is, if I do that, then the 300 Win Mag's gonna just bark from the hilltops, and that's not fair to anybody. So I'm thinking about still running bow, but to backtrack just a second, the back to the prions and the CWD. My understanding of it is the reason why they want the head is because the CWD lives in the spinal cord. So if you're going to process your meat, don't break the spine if you can help it.
Yeah, it can be in the
And
fluids.
if you get the spinal fluid on any of your tools, it's there forever. You can't, your Scani rinse in the dishwasher, as far as I understand, won't kill it.
That's
So
correct. That's what we've heard.
basically all of your tools will be contaminated.
Correct.
So not to be Debbie Downer.
No,
but
that's good. That's
if you
good
think
info.
you got one, you probably already ate it.
Yeah, pretty good chance.
Yeah.
Well, I like the way
Yeah.
your storytelling is colorful, and I appreciate it. Getting Tubbs laughing over here. I'd laugh, but then I'd start going on a coughing fit.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Long-time listener, first-time caller kind of
Yeah,
situation. I
wow.
thought I would,
It's awesome.
Calling again
the
next.
last guy I feel
calling
real
again
bad
on
for about his
Thursday.
field.
If you can, let us know where you're going, what you're bringing for rifle. Don't tell me now. Save it for Thursday. We're probably gonna be drunk, so it'll be a good
Yeah,
episode.
I'm still mulling it around. I have no idea. It's all up in the air still.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right.
All right.
Have a great night, gentlemen.
You too, bud.
Well, one more, Greg, and I'll let you off the hook here.
All right.
I know this fella too, though. We got Alex on the line. You're live, buddy. How you been, man?
Oh man, I've had a life in a long time. How about you?
I think when's the last time I saw you? Like ice fishing in 2012 or something?
Yeah, Northern bit my finger and it bled all day.
Yeah, I got a meme of that on our Giphy account. It was like that Charlie Charlie bit me, except it was a pike. You're like, oh, I'm fucking bleeding. I remember that. Hard to forget. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
You been out bow hunting at all, or?
But, even with a spreader. Yeah, I actually went scouting. I used to hunt in fantastic southwestern Wisconsin in the Driftless region, which has a huge density of deer. And opening morning on private land, I used to see 20, 30 deer. And we no longer have access to that property because it was worth millions of dollars. So now we're stuck going back up on private land, public land up north. So huge difference.
Yeah, where you see one deer opening day, and that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and amidst a bunch of wolf tracks, nonetheless, probably.
You know what? You literally read my mind. We stopped going up north. One of the main reasons
we would hear more wolves and see more wolf prints and bear prints than we would see deer prints or deer sign or see deer. It's a thing. Like, people need to realize that it's not an agricultural zone up there. There's not that much food to keep them alive year round. Thankfully, there's been some pretty mild winters in the last few years, so I'm hoping that'll help.
Where up north are you at?
Quite honestly, the middle of nowhere, Eric. It's Lakewood, Townsend, Mountain, Chequamegon, Nicolet National
Yeah,
Forest.
we know the area.
Oh, well, you know, that's interesting you say that
That's
because
Derek
Mr. Derek
territory.
Melkor, who's not here tonight, just did a YouTube video that went on our YouTube channel about scouting that exact area in Townsend, in the Nicolet, up in that general area. He's scouting big woods clear cuts. Might be a good one to watch. It's
I know what I'll be watching tonight.
it's just him walking around the woods for about an hour, and
you can't get a
nuggets
better
you get
teacher
are
in
great.
that area. I mean, him and his family have had very good success there, but it's not every year is a winner. Not every year is a 10, you know, they don't always get one. Some years, they double and triple up. Him, his mom, and his dad get a deer. It's very fickle, but that's the North Woods.
Yeah, but it's beautiful up there.
Yeah,
it's good country. It's nice territory, but the big ones are there. They're just not easy to get to or find. I don't think I could do it. Like, I'm no Derek Melkor.
Neither am I.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually had a wolf experience in this hunting area. The first buck I ever shot, I was like 12, 13 years old, something like that. I had shot it. We put it up on the hanger up at the trailer, and some other guy in our party ended up getting a deer. So everyone else kind of left to go after that deer. And we're in the dead end middle of nowhere, so there's no lights. I mean, the sun or the moon is brighter than the lights, really. So everyone else was gone, but there was a dog. Black, I can't see anything, but so I turned on some of the lights, and I had a freaking wolf going after my deer.
Holy
shit. And I started making a lot of noise and trying to scare it away. And eventually it went away, but I think it got a few tears at the hind. And, that's before wolves were anywhere near what the numbers are now. But there's definitely strong wolf population up there.
Oh, yeah.
That'll keep you. I mean, I'm happy to hunt on the ground where I hunt now because I don't have that problem. But up there, I'm like, I'm probably gonna get in a tree, just to be safe. Even though that's where most injuries happen.
Yeah,
I think I'd feel safer up in a tree. If in case I fall asleep on the ground or something like that. I don't want some wolves coming to tear my legs off. But even they're not gonna really bother people. That there's not a lot of and there's like 1 or 2 reported cases of that happening. And it's usually because it's a lone wolf that got hit by a car and rejected from the pack and not right or something. Like ripped a guy out of a tent or something.
Yeah, it's wounded, it's vulnerable,
Yeah,
it needs to
weird
take that
shit.
chance.
But no, that's interesting.
I actually studied wolves at Stevens Point, so I know what we're talking about here.
that's cool.
I had some weird obsession with wolves as a child. Some like almost autistic obsession. I know more about wolves than a grown man should from being in 4th grade. I still remember all the facts. It's a strange thing. Anyway, good to hear from you, man. And so, yeah, call in on Thursday. Kulas will be in the studio. Joel will be in the studio. Clayton was going to be, but he's driving straight through to camp because they want to do some scouting right on Thursday and get ahead of things.
He'll kill the biggest buck in the group.
He better. Otherwise, he's getting a lot of shit for not making it to the podcast on Thursday. But yeah, go ahead and call on Thursday. Let us know where you're going, what you're bringing. Should be another fun episode. Very different style and different co-hosts on that episode. So
yeah, absolutely. I'll have to give you a call in and maybe talk to Mike a little bit too, and maybe I can give you another story about when I was almost attacked by a coyote a few years ago.
That'd be a good one for that. Yeah, that'd be a good one for that too, for sure. Well, it's good to hear from you, buddy. Thanks for calling in. Long-time listener, first-time caller, it sounds like. So
yeah.
Good to hear from you.
I think it's my second time calling.
Oh, is it? Yeah, maybe it is.
Could be.
He usually tells me. I don't know where
it's been a while either way.
Yeah.
It's got a log. I got a log of every caller in here, so I'll have to check. I'm curious now. But yeah, man. Well, we're gonna pull the plug on the podcast for the night. Greg's got to drive back home. I'm tired. My voice is about to start coughing like crazy. So that's all I got for tonight.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Yeah, man. Have a good night. Great show. And maybe talk to you on Thursday.
Sounds good, bud. See ya.
Yep. But
That's cool. It's cool that we got some good stories
Yeah,
calling tonight.
I did hear from the folks that said they got their deer tested and CWD positive. The DNR did tell them that they can sanitize their tools for a certain amount of time and a certain bleach mixture. It escapes me as to what that ratio is, but Tony Cordero just punched in. It's you can sanitize your tools. It is a pretty simple bleach mixture. So I don't know if it's a 50-1, or 50-50.
Do you think it says like washes it off?
Well, it kills the
'Cause if you-
prions, but you got to soak them probably for like a minute or two or something like that. There's probably a certain amount of time you need to soak them to sanitize to let the bleach kill all
We should
the
get
germs
Tony
out.
in studio to talk about this.
Good
more, 'cause
luck.
it's my
He
understanding
is
that
the
these things-
Phantom,
Yeah, that's true.
and he likes his privacy, and I don't blame him one bit.
Oh, that's true. But if you can't kill the damn things, then how can he kill the damn things?
Yeah, well,
Begs the question, Tony.
begs the question. Either way,
I'll learn more. I'm just here.
he's in an area where they do a lot of testing, and Tony has his deer tested.
Mhm.
Tony's pretty involved with.
Doug and everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
We should get Doug in here. He's never come to our studio.
Good luck. I think it's more epic to go to his farm.
It was pretty cool. We did that.
Yeah,
That was pretty.
definitely.
That was a special podcast.
it's been a lot of cool people that have been to that farm.
We're not the cool ones.
No, we're
We
not.
were there.
No. That's about it. All right.
Frank off.
All
Have
right.
a